Actually, thankful for the win at UTEP. Disappointed in the way that we played on Saturday. Lots of lessons there, but looking forward to being back at home. And I know it was our last trip to El Paso, and I'm not sure if any of you will ever be there, including you, Mike. And I know you're a passionate collector of lids, so we took the liberty of bringing you back a Chihuahua lid for your collection. So I'm gonna put that over there so it's not in our shot, but there you go, okay? I'm not sure if you'll ever go there on your own, so I just saved you a lot of money on an airplane, okay? All right, guys, you're welcome. Open for questions. Absolutely, and that's the beauty about what we do. Anybody can do it when it's going right. The man in the arena is real. Only those that have been in this space and in their space can genuinely speak to what it is that we experience. So for us, it's about the journey. Our goals at the beginning of the year haven't changed because we lost a game or two. We're just going to keep marching forward and moving forward. And on top of that, you got to keep building habits because this young team is not going to be young forever. And if you lose sight of your journey, you lose sight of your growth, then you might lose sight of exactly what's important here. So for us is, how do we win every single practice? We only have a certain number of practices left, and I'm trying to encourage them to win every practice, win every drill, and stay competitive in that realm that way, and that should spill over into competition. Western's really talented. When you got transfers that come in that are potential players of the year, in other conferences, you're a very talented team. They can score. They're athletic. So for us, as much as it is preparing well for them, it's also preparing well for us. How do we continue to execute well? At one point, this team was sharing the ball unbelievably well. We were defending with some passion. And I think, in the journey, maybe we lost a little bit of that. February does that to you. So for us, it's more, how do we continue to become the best version of ourselves? How do we go back to competing hard, playing hard, sharing the basketball, taking care of the ball? I can go back to the weekend and, we lost at North Texas. We only have 5 turnovers. So there's a lot of positive things that I can always take away, especially with a young group. You have to point out the things that they are doing well. We can't all just focus on the scoreboard. I can go down this whole list and be 2-point game, 2-point game, 3-point game, 2-point game. The wins are also the same. 2-point game here, 4-point game there. So that's the journey. That's the story of this group. So for us is, how do we continue to win more possessions? How do we make sure that we execute our stuff really well? And how do we just defend to the best of our ability? Yeah, me. It has to be me. In the huddles, it has to be, me as a coach saying, hey, you are 8 points away, from, making this a tied ball game. Let's just get a stop and get a score, And I'm the one that has to point out the things that are going well. I'm the one that has to grab a guy who's struggling and wrap my arms around them when things aren't going well. I can't just pat him in the back when things are going good and say, hey, you're great. When things are going bad, I can't knock them down. So I have to be the guy that make sure that they understand this. There's no transaction for my appreciation and love for them. I have to love them in good and in bad. I have to help them grow. I have to get them move. I'm the one that has to inject them with that exactly that we're talking about. Now, as a player, I think there's a guy like Isaiah Folks can really energize the group. I think that he's got that thing. I think Ali Khalifa can wrap his big arms around a guy and make him feel better. So I think if we all rally together, we can do that for one another, absolutely. But I think it's my responsibility to make sure that I inject guys with positive energy. I think it's contagious when it comes from your head coach. Yeah. It's both. Inexperience is youth. And inexperience is also shared experiences. So when you add, I would use a guy like Igor, for example. Say, well, he transferred, he's a sophomore. Yeah, but he came here, but, if you look at his minutes, the number of minutes that Igor played collegiately prior to coming here are very low. So he's really a freshman, So in the moment, in a pressure situation, with some fatigue, in a hostile environment, he's going to make a mistake here or there. And that's how he's going to grow as an individual. So when we're in a 2-point ball game and, a guy leaves his responsibility or doesn't execute well because he's never been there before, like those are the tough ones, and those are the things that we point out. You talk about 2-point ball games, it's a block out, it's an offensive rebound, it's a misassignment, it's a losing vision and giving a backdoor cut. Things that you practice every single day, that still aren't habits completely that are instilled in young players. Uh, Absolutely. And we as coaches, sometimes we really point out the bad and we fail to celebrate the good. And that's what I mean, that I'm the one that's responsible for making sure that, I'm ringing bells and I'm picking guys up and I'm cheering them on when they do, things well. We can't go from Friday morning watching film and talking about you did this well, this well, this well, and then Sunday watching film and be like, we did this wrong, wrong, wrong. So you got to find the balance. And I mean, do we need this like yesterday? Absolutely, 100%. Do we have to come out and play harder? Absolutely, 100%. Our standard is our standard. We're not going to say, oh, it's okay on this day and not that day, because you're not really lowering your standard. What you're doing is you're creating a lower standard that is not good enough. So we're going to stay right there, keep demanding excellence, keep pushing them to be the best version that we're supposed to be. And then when they make a mistake, teach them, educate them.